Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Wagon Wheel Friday. And after last Saturday's performance, I guess the question is, are the wheels falling off of the wagon? Or will some modifications, some minor modifications, turn it back into a sleek flying machine? Well, let's have a look at what happened last Saturday. And I think there's some lessons to be learnt from looking at the results. So as a result of last week's activities, we had 29 bets in total on Saturday. We found two winners. One of them was a top selection, 11-11, and the other one, Wisdom of Water. Just before the start, the prices drifted out enough for it to become a selection. And we've got two winners out of 6 races. But with having 29 bets on the day, it turned out to be a negative result on the day. And so right now, the results stand at a 39.1% strike rate. We're in profit to the tune of $149.56, and that's including taking out the commissions from Betfair. We've invested nearly $1,300, and our return on investment has fallen noticeably down to only 11.7%, so well below that target of 20%. But we will benefit from looking at what actually happened last Saturday, and I am going to make some modifications going forwards. So looking at last Saturday, the top selections, there were 6 races, so we had 6 bets of $15 each for an outlay of $90. The one winner returned $122.16, so return on investment was 35.7%, quite satisfactory. The value bets, however, there were 23 bets in total for an outlay of $155.50, but we only found the one winner returning $62.77, so return on investment negative 59.6%. That's our worst result since starting way back, early in November, I think, when we began. But I did go back and have a look at some of the stats on the selections which have been winners for us. And so on screen are all the horses that have won according to the system. Now, they were all value bets, so we were able to get a price better than the odds suggested by the wagon wheel. But when we look at the starting prices, the highest starting price is only $13. The average starting price of all of the winners is $7.92. But the highest price, $13, is something to take note of, because last Saturday, all of those horses highlighted in dark blue here started at a price greater than $15. Now, none of them won. None of them really got all that close to saluting. And it produced a total loss on the day of $60.57. But we had not bet on the horses priced at $15 or higher, then we would have saved $65. And in fact, we would have ended up having a profitable day. So I went back and checked all of the results going back since we began the process and started testing out this strategy. And since the start, if we had not invested any money into horses priced at $15 or greater at the starting time, we would have saved ourselves $178.50, and in fact we would not have missed out on one single collect. Our investment would have decreased down to $1,101.45, but our profit would be at $328.06. And so rather than being at a return on investment of 11% or so, the return on investment would be nearly 30%. And so going forwards, I'm now going to overlay a filter of only betting on horses that are priced at less than $15, and I'll show you how that's going to work on the spreadsheet. Now, this week the pickings are pretty slim because there are very few races scheduled with prize money above what would be normally the prize money for that particular meeting. And in fact, I've only been able to find one absolute certain race and one which might be a possibility, although I'm not going to be investing in it. So we're coming down to only one race for the weekend, and that's Randwick race number 8. It's a $150,000 race, open class, so slightly more than the average prize money of 130,000. So just sneaking in there. Now, running the wagon over the field, you'll notice that it comes up with all but 2 horses having a chance in the race. And so in the column under bet here, if we come up and have a look at what's in the formula bar, you'll notice I've got 2 filters deciding on whether we're going to be having a bet or not. It says if and. In other words, the 2 metrics inside the brackets here are what's looking at. First of all, we need AA3 to be less than E3. In other words, what that means is we need the price that the wagon wheel assesses the horse at to be less than the available price from the bookmakers. So if I was to come over here into the columns which are hidden at the moment at AA3, the entry in there is the wagon wheel price, and so we want the wagon wheel price to be less than the bookmaker price, which is in column E. But then I've added in that I want the bookmaker price, which is in column E, to be less than $15. And so if those 2 metrics are both met, then we have a bet. But if either of them are not met, then we don't have a bet. And so applying that metric at the moment, there's only 1 horse to bet on in the race based on the current prices, and that horse is Steely, which is currently at $10 available from the bookmakers, and just sneaking in because the wagon prices it at $9.85. But you'll notice that the wagon wheel has 4 horses here closely rated to each other, 2 at 12.5 and 2 at 12 is their rating, and so the wagon wheel prices 2 at 9.46 and 2 at 9.85. Now, come closer to starting time, some of these prices might change, and so what we're going to be betting on may actually change. Now, at the moment, we're also going to be putting $15 onto the top selection, and at the moment there are 2 top selections, Holyfield and Through the Cracks, and so I'll be putting $7.50 onto Through the Cracks and $7.50 onto Holyfield. You know, I'm not sure whether we should do something different, like maybe have $10 on Through the Cracks and $5 on Holyfield. Probably that would be a smarter thing to do, so that whichever one wins, if they win, the return will be about the same. It should be around about $40. So I think that's probably what I'll do. However, things can change. So for example, this horse Steely here is currently priced at $10. If when it comes around to starting time, its price drops down to say $7, so put that in there, what's happened is that Steely now, instead of being about the 6th favourite in the race, is now the 2nd favourite in the race, and as a result of that it ends up with 4 more points in the rating over here. If we put it back to say $10 again, have a look at that. At $10 there's quite a number of horses in front of it in terms of favouritism. We've got Special Reward, Purple Sector, Prime Candidate, Holyfield and Through the Cracks. So it's basically the 6th favourite in the race. If it starts at say $7, then suddenly it becomes the 2nd favourite in the race, and so therefore its rating goes up by 4 points to 16, and it now becomes the favourite in the race. So we'll put it back to where it was, $10. And so right now we're going to be having $6 on Steely, and as I was just talking about, say $10 on Through the Cracks and $5 on Holyfield. But it depends on what happens just before the start and to how these prices change. What I put up today, you'll need to make your own decisions, I guess, about whether you follow this in fact or whether you wait until near start time, whatever you want to do. As it currently stands, we've got Holyfield and Through the Cracks are the favourite in the race, but that may well be that if these prices change, that closer to start time, neither of those horses are actually favourite in the race, and that $15 for the top selection will be going on to something else. So, you know, very tricky, you know, not confident really about this. So many things could change, and I'll be putting the bets on about 2 or 3 minutes before the start of the race. So don't expect that necessarily it's going to be actually as is showing here. The other race, there's a possibility, but I'm not going to be betting on it, but I put it up here just in case you're interested, is Ascot Race 8. It's a $100,000 race, which is above the normal prize money, but it's not an open company race. It's 84 plus or something or other, so it's not quite there. And in fact, as you can see here, all but one of the horses is actually down in class. So every one of these horses has been running in open or listed company at their last start, and all of them are now coming down to a much lower quality race, with the exception of True Attraction. The Wagon Wheel says every single horse in the race has a chance of winning this, and the favourite, Pro Consent, priced at $6.19 by the Wagon, but the actual starting price is $3. However, as I said, I'm not going to be investing into this race. I'm only having one race as far as the YouTube results are concerned, but I put this one in there for you just in case you're interested. So we'll leave it there for today. The file will be uploaded onto Google Sheets as usual, so you can download it, and the file will contain this updated formula in here. Now, if you don't like the idea of eliminating horses that are starting greater than $15, then you'll need to go in and edit this little section in here and remove the and remove the E3 less than 15. But I think it's worthwhile doing. You know, we've looked at about 400 races. You know, most of them we eliminate because they don't satisfy the race structure that I want to look at. But we've come down, I think we've had, looking at the results, 40 something races, is it? 41 races. And of those 41 races, not one of them has been won by one of our selections at greater than $15. So I'm happy to put that modification in, and then we'll keep going forwards with that. Remember, this is a work in progress. We're doing some research here, making a little bit of money on it at the moment, but it would be great if we could turn it into something just a little bit more special than that. As always, hope you found this interesting, and if we're having a punt on the weekend, I do hope that you're very successful in your attempts. Until I catch up with you next Friday, I hope you keep very well.